After you, Nick.
Excellent. Thank you all for sharing that great demo. We wanted to jump now and provide a yearly recap of open metadata and some of my favorite statistics that I've seen about the growth of open metadata this year in 2025. It's been a great year for open metadata and wanted to highlight all of the really exciting growth in the style of, you may be familiar with Spotify Wrapped. So as I'm going through these statistics, if you had like a top artist or anything that you'd like to share from your Spotify Wrapped, please put it in the chat. And then also, if you have any questions about anything that you've seen so far in the meetup, please feel free to ask those now. We can get to those very shortly. So through the year, we've seen some really great growth in terms of number of contributors. As you can see here, number of GitHub stars have grown pretty massively over the course of 2025. And one of the things that I wanted to point out is like the biggest area of growth that we've seen is in our Slack community, right? So that's been really exciting to get to know all of you in that channel, be able to introduce myself, ask questions, and hear some amazing stories. Like I met David, who just presented earlier. I met him through our Slack, right? So it's been really an honor to get to know you all there and get to hear some of your stories about how you are solving problems with data, how you are improving your teammates' jobs and responsibilities and making those easier. And it's a pleasure to be involved and hear those stories, and it's really exciting to hear how open metadata is a part of them. So please feel free to join that Slack and to reach out to me. I think there's a lot more stories that we can uncover in 2026, and I'd love to hear them. Digging into more details on our review of this year for GitHub, we've had a lot, thousands of commits, thousands of closed issues across, by my count, over 70 total releases of open metadata. So, well over a weekly cadence as we are closing these issues. Those are turning into new releases that is getting even better open metadata versions into your hands. So it's been really exciting to watch that cadence not only be so quickly, but start to pick up here, especially at the end of the year. Through all of those releases, we had 5 iterations of open metadata, going from open metadata 1.7 was released earlier this year, all the way to now. We just got open metadata 1.11. So open metadata 1.7 was adding things like autopilot and new connectors, revamping the UI. Open metadata 1.8 introduced the MCP server. Open metadata's embedded MCP server, which has been great. I've really loved to hear how creative some of the community has been in implementing that with the rest of their data stack. Open metadata 1.9 brought even more new connectors and revamped the UI again. But then we also saw data contracts there. Data contracts is if the MCP server has been showcasing people's creativity, data contracts, I think, has really been showcasing people's utility, right? And we're really seeing people accomplish a lot of useful work there with data contracts and think about their data and execute and act on it in a lot more efficient ways. So that's been exciting to see data contracts get into everyone's hands here at Open Metadata. Open Metadata 1.10 revamped the Open Metadata SDK. In Open Metadata 1.11, as we saw in our last meetup, introduced data quality as code, dimensionality in in data quality tests, things like that. So it's been really a huge year as far as new features and new releases in Open Metadata. A Slack recap, there's been over 35,000 total replies and messages and posts over the year, which is nuts. It's been really exciting to be able to speak with you all. There's been, you can see there's been under 7,000 posts, but over 35,000 total replies. So we're having conversations there, right? It's about 5 total messages for each post. So it's been great to dig in deeper to your guys' open metadata environments, look into what's happening, and make sure that they are as easy as possible. Open metadata is as easy as possible for you to use. It's working as effectively as it can. And really, I love to see not only that these number of posts are so high, but how many of them are turning into conversations, how many are turning into resolutions, how many are turning into issues that are bringing open metadata, to the next level. And we've seen thousands of different contacts, with Slack members. We're getting a variety of different people from across the world really interacting with each other in that Slack. Wanted to provide a quick YouTube recap as well. By my count, we had 67 new videos this year on our Open Metadata YouTube channel. There was over 166,000 views and almost 500,000 minutes watched of open metadata material on YouTube, which is amazing to me. And I really appreciate all your interest in the community as it's evolved throughout the year. Two of our most popular videos I have here. We just saw Harsha's demo. We had an Ask the Experts video with Harsha talking about some of the foundations and the story behind open metadata. And then one of our most popular videos was actually last month's webinar. So it's been great to see that momentum grow, and kind of as we continue to put out material on that YouTube, it continues to be, it's as healthy as ever as far as people viewing it and people enjoying those videos. So I really appreciate all the support there. Through that, and the last meetup, we had two great guest speakers. We just saw David present in a community spotlight today. We've had a number of different guest speakers throughout the year at our open metadata community meetups. We started with the Carrefour team in Sao Paulo before checking out how Gorgeous uses open metadata in Paris. Nicolas Gutierrez Garcia from Ednon showed us open metadata from Spain. Then we had Mustafa at Talentsys. He showed us open metadata from France, but shortly after set up shop in Morocco. So I wanted to place him here because right after we went back to France and Ayman showed us how NW is using open metadata. We went all the way to Japan and saw Kansai Airports. Nancy from MoneyPoint showed us some of her favorite contributions she's made into open metadata. We saw the latest from Airflow 3, which is now available with open metadata from Kenton at Astronomer. Rizal had a great demo and introduction to MCP out of Boston, where she's leading the Blocks open source DevRel team. And then we just saw David from Belgium showing how VRT is using open metadata as well. So really traveled the globe and been able to see a lot of different stories. I think there's even more to tell in 2026. So please reach out to me. Would love to hear your stories. And then, if willing and able, it doesn't matter where you are, as you can see, it doesn't matter, what you've done with open metadata. I think you have a story to tell. And I think, would love to use this platform to share it with others. So please reach out to me. And I think that there's a lot more that we can say in the new year.